to the IARJ's celebration of Larbi Megari today, being inducted into our Hall of Fame. My name is Martin Davis. It's my honor and my privilege to host today's meeting. And I want to welcome, first off, everyone from the IARJ who is here with us on this Zoom meeting. And I want to welcome everyone in the world of Facebook who is joining us by streaming in live. I want to start off by introducing Uday Basu, who is going to say a few words and kick this meeting off. So Uday, floor is yours. Uday, I think your sound is off. We can't hear you. Uday, can you unmute yourself, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we're good.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, fine. That's fine.
Go ahead.
Fine. Well, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to welcome our guests and participants. It is my proud privilege to welcome you all to this great event of our IARJ calendar. It is so wonderful that you all could finally make it after the confusion over the calculations of timings in various time zones that we had. But we shouldn't be ashamed of that. In fact, that is the strength of our organization. We are so well spread out across 5 continents that we make time race with us so that we can meet at the right time. So hearty welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
Uday, thank you so much, Uday. That's a wonderful way to put a positive light on what can be a frustrating problem sometimes. Luckily for me here on the East Coast of the United States, it's lunchtime, and there are many around the world here who are not so fortunate to be up at lunchtime. And thank all of you for taking the time to be here today. Next, I'd like to introduce Peggy Stack. Peggy's going to say a few words about the event today. And Peggy, the floor is yours.
Well, the idea for an IARJ Hall of Fame really belongs to David Briggs, who's constantly thinking of ways to honor and reward members of the IARJ around the world, and reporters and anybody who is serious about reporting. He came up with this idea, which we launched in Salt Lake City in 2019. So we had an event, a conference in Salt Lake City in the US. And the first recipients of the IARJ Hall of Fame were Maria Paz Lopez, whom we all know, who was the first chairman of the board of IARJ for, I want to say 5 years. Is that right, David? Do you think 5?
Yeah.
I think it's about 5 to 6 years, and she did a phenomenal job as board chairperson, and so it was a great it was our pleasure to honor her. She writes for the La Vanguardia in Spain, but she is actually a foreign correspondent who lives in Berlin and has been covering Ukraine war. And the second recipient that first year was the late Anthony Shadid, who wrote for the Associated Press, the Washington Post, and the New York Times, and had done phenomenal reporting. And so we were able to give him an honor that year. And in 2020, we honored our founder and visionary, David Briggs, and that was so wonderful for all of us to be able to chime in on all his contributions and our gratitude for his founding of this organization. And we also honored Eric Cabandera, who was one of the founders at the beginning in 2012 in Bellagio, and he is a journalist in Tanzania. And at that ceremony, which was also on Zoom because we weren't really able to meet because of the pandemic, we started to have cut back on meetings. And Eric told us all about being imprisoned for his work. And it was a very moving ceremony. So far we've had 4 recipients. So we are so honored so excited to have Larbi be our next recipient. Back to you, Marty.
Thanks, Peggy. What a marvelous overview and a great tribute, of course, to David, who helped, didn't just help, he had the vision for this organization and brought the people together and did so many things to make it all happen. But to everyone on this call today who, over the years, I think you said Marie was with us for 5 years as board chair, and I was sitting here thinking, my goodness, has it been that long? And have we been together as a group that long? In fact, we really have. It's a wonderful recollection. And so thanks to everyone here who's had a key role in making this organization go. This time, I'd like to actually turn to David Briggs and ask David to say words about our guest of honor today.
Well, thank you very much, Marty and Uday and Peggy. It's my great honor to be here this afternoon to honor my wonderful friend, an outstanding journalist, outstanding scholar, and outstanding human being, Larbi Megari. Larbi and I, well, Larbi is even before the founding meeting. Larbi was one of the instruments of the Iarj. One of the key things we did before we started was just to go out and engage people throughout the world in dialogues and in personal meetings. And Larbi, I think you're part of that first dialogue. Well, Larbi has been so impressive from the beginning in his sensitivity to journalists around the world and his own outstanding contributions. It wasn't long before Larbi was sharing the duty of running the dialogues, facilitating the dialogues. Nobody ran them really, and writing and writing some of the work for other journalists to consider in their own situations. And the people steadily grew. Like at our first dialogue, we had about 30 people, and that grew to 210 journalists. Oh no, I'm sorry, not. Maybe that's 210 overall. It grew to have 210 people competing for spots to be among 30 journalists in some of these dialogues. But just from the very beginning, I hope we started, just like I did with all the people on this call, I hope started a deep friendship, and it just a lasting respect and wonder at all that you have done. But Larbi is particular in so many ways. The whole identity from the beginning was to be welcoming to journalists from all nations, and just such a key part of that practically was to invite people from Arab-speaking nations, and I think, well, we're the only truly international organization of religion journalists in the world, but we are that way in large part because of Larbi Megari, who never lost not only his vision, but his ability to make that vision come alive. We started very quickly to have our website in both English and Arabic, and and Larbi has played just an incredible role in making that happen and making it still be alive and vivid today. Not only in his own writings, but in sharing, the writings of others and sharing on social media, what's going on in the world. And, from the beginning, now we have over 800 members, but we very quickly moved up to 600 or 700, but 200 of our members, not 200, a third of our members have been Arabic speaking. And it's also been our goal to quickly, not as quickly as Pedro and I and others might like, but hopefully we'll soon make that a tri-language with a greater ability to reach out to our Spanish-speaking audience around the world. But I cannot underestimate Larbi's sense of concern for, or a sense of understanding of the importance of living up to our ideals, of reaching out in a way to everyone from every nation. And we don't have a lot of money, partly because of our ethics and partly because it's still a new idea for people that not to impose their own way of thinking on others. But the reason we've been a success is not only all of you that are part of the RJ and all of you on this call, but in large part to Larbi Megari. And that's, and for some of us and more than others, and Larbi as much as anyone else, it's involved personal sacrifice to make this happen. And so when I'm thinking of Larbi, I'm always thinking in three ways. I'm thinking of him as well, first of all, as my friend and outstanding human being, and I'm thinking of him as a scholar. He's very close now to achieving his doctoral degree in media studies from the University of Tours in France. After receiving his master's in London. But the third and the most important way is as a journalist with a vision of accurate and in-depth reporting. In fact, one of the ways that Larbi and I and the IRJ have worked closely together is on something we're proud of, work together with also another organization called ARDA on Global Plus that that allowed both outstanding journalists and outstanding scholars throughout the world to write about issues that are central to religious understanding. And Larbi was he was both a scholar and his journalist hat produced some excellent pieces for Global Plus. And I would urge you to all to read them. Just Larbi Megari Google Plus, and you'll see them. They include work on interfaith understanding, a fascinating piece on religion and mortality, how our belief in the afterlife does affect both our own health and the social health of nations throughout the world. And let me well, just a quote from the end of one of his pieces on peace and the path to understanding. He said, I do believe the shortest way to peace is to know each other correctly. And to achieve this, there is a real need to get in touch with each other in a respectful way. We need to know each other as they are and not as we expect them to be. So today, as we honor Larbi, a truly remarkable, and I always go first to who he is as a person. It's who he is as a person is that he's made this wonderful, wonderful contribution to humankind. And it's what we all believe here in the International Association of Religion Journalists, that we're here to learn from and appreciate one another. And Larbi, I just hope you know how much you have done to improve humanity's ability to know, respect, and I think eventually love one another. So my friend, well, we can't thank you enough, but we can appreciate you. It's just a wonderful honor knowing you, and thank you.
David, thanks for a very thoughtful, reflective, kind set of remarks, not only about the depth of Larbi as a scholar, as a journalist, but also, most importantly, to those of us who know him as a human being. You captured it very well. I have a few words I would like to say about Larbi, but before I do that, we do have a number of folks on the call today, and I'd like to give them just a couple of minutes if you'd like to add a few comments before I add mine. If you'd like to do that, I'd like to provide you that opportunity. So just a few quick words if anyone would like to do that.
Well, I can take a couple of minutes. I, of course, met Larbi in Bellagio, but he's a kind of a quiet guy and didn't have many conversations in Bellagio, but I do remember him speaking. I remember you, Larbi, speaking eloquently about the need for Arabic speaking journalists to have this organization. And you spoke powerfully on behalf of your region, and you've done nothing but speak about that region for a long time, opening our eyes and helping us to understand what's going on, and pushing us to try to have better relations, more membership benefits for that group, and promoting ideas for the website, which I hope we can implement soon. And then next I saw you in Jakarta, and we had some great conversations in Jakarta in which you sort of tutored me in politics and religion in your area. I know so little about it, and I was just eating it up, just so grateful that you would take the time for someone like me to tell me all about what are the issues and how to best elevate journalists, local journalists, not just American journalists or foreign journalists. And thirdly, then I saw you in Warsaw, and I think we actually ate breakfast together. That's my memory. And we just had a lovely chat about our families and our work and our mutual love of Iarj. And I just am so grateful to you that you would spend time with a person like me and help me and elevate my understanding, which I'm always looking to improve. And then our personal conversations have been super meaningful to me. And I do feel amazing compassion coming from you, and this my heart has gone out to you during COVID. You've had some terrible, terrible personal struggles during that. And you care so deeply about the people around you and your, the news business. So thank you again, Larbi, for treating me like a friend and a colleague, even though I know so little. I appreciate and welcome everything you've done for me.
Thank you, Peggy. Anyone else?
I wasn't prepared anything, but can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, but I just remember, I remember Larbi and all those 3 conferences. And I remember for some reasons when you spoke up at the Indonesian conference in a Muslim country with that pretty big crowd actually. And I appreciated your impartiality and I guess subjectivity, for lack of a better word, about Islam, where you had some critique of kind of people who can use Islam in a kind of oppressive way. And I just really appreciated that you were kind of, just had that kind of fairness and balance and critical mind. So, and separate from that, I just always appreciate the work you've been putting in weekly with the IRJ, with David Crum and Elisa, and just logging it out, keeping Twitter going and the website and our communications. It's been crucial. So thanks, Larbi.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate that.
I just
one last call. Anyone else? Prince Charles, yes, please.
all right. I just chip in a few words, and I wish I could do poetry, and I think it would have been appropriate to do that now, but I can't. I just say this, that Larbi.
We can sing. We can sing him a song from Africa if you want. South Africa is here. Larbi.
Yeah, we can. For he's a jolly good fellow. For he's a
Mabruk,
jolly
ya akhi, mabruk.
fellow. For he's a good, very good, jolly good fellow. So says all of us. So Larbi is a gentleman, a gentleman's gentleman. I like to say from interaction, Larbi has been a culturally literate person. Apart from being well read, I like to appreciate the academic side to his practice as a journalist. Larbi, in my conversations with him, educates through his heart and keeps a conversation. And lately, there's this beautiful thing. Anytime I want nice artistic painting from the Islamic world, I just go to Larbi's LinkedIn, and I'm sure I'm going to see something that I can use. I never said this to him, but he's my first go-to when I do things like that. And I can't but use an opportunity like this to say a big thank you for the work you do, David Crum, also, and Elisa, on our web, day in, day out, to keep our IRJ going. Kudos. And from Africa, this is a big congratulations to you.
Thank you, Prince Charles. And I'm glad that you mentioned David Crum and Elisa and Larbi as a team, because that's how I think of them. That's how I first came into contact with them. And for those of you who don't deal day in and day out with the IARJ, and at this point in my relationship with the organization, I'm not one of those people, but David and Elisa and Larbi have from the beginning been the fuel that drives this organization online, in publications, in promoting our conferences, and all the little legwork that has to be done to make our gatherings happen that people never see and we take for granted. Most people just have no idea the amount of work that those 3 put in, and that Larbi in particular puts in. And I've always had so much respect for you, Larbi, for the incredible amount of work you do and the selflessness with which you do it. It's a model. It's certainly been a model for me in my life, and you've taught me so much these last years. And Larbi and I have only had the opportunity to meet once. We were in Ghana, and I stepped into a conference room there. I think it was the only air conditioner in the city of Accra. And I was, wilting like a flower in a press of heat, and stepped in, and Larbi came in, and we just had this incredible discussion that still is with me. Larbi says he can remember every word. Larbi's a much better man than me. I can't remember the words. I sure remember the emotion and the experience. And I really do look forward, Larbi, to the day when we can sit down together again and finish that conversation and start more. We are all richer for having known you, for knowing you, and we're all better as an organization for the incredible amount of work that you give. So the next time you go to the IARJ website, you check our Twitter feed, you take part in the conversations and the meetings, remember that none of that happens without Larbi, none of it. And there just aren't enough words to say thank you for that. So Larbi, I won't add any more to what's been said. I think people have said so well what I feel in my heart for you. You are my friend. You are my colleague. And in so many ways, you are my superior when it comes to being someone who teaches me and guides me and directs me and helps me keep life in perspective. So for that, I wish to thank you immensely. What I'd like to do now is to go on and actually handle the presentation of the certificate to Larbi. And so Uday, I'm going to actually let you take it over from here and make the formal presentation.
Okay, yeah. If before that, if I may say a few words about Larbi. You see, I've never seen such a soft-spoken, amiable journalist like Larbi. When I met him for the first time at the IARJ's conference in Jakarta, Indonesia, that was the first impression he made on me. The previous day, I had made my presentation, and Larbi was all praise for it. On the second day, we sat side by side among the audience and heard eminent personalities and religious leaders of Indonesia explain their thoughts and ideas. Larbi was a picture of concentration as he listened to the lectures with rapt attention. I only expected it of him since I had found him to be a gentleman to his fingertips. Then it was our turn to ask questions, and I found a different Larbi coming out of his shell. The journalist in him was a relentless seeker of truth, and he was so forceful in presenting thoughts and elicit answers from the speakers to his questions. He won't let them go easily till he was satisfied with the answers. He came across as a tough, no-nonsense journalist, however calm, quiet, and gentle he may be. It has been such a pleasure working with him in the IARJ all these years. He shoulders such a heavy burden in the IARJ, always with a genial smile for the benefit of all of us, fellow journalists across the globe. It is my proud privilege to have got the chance to say a few words on this auspicious occasion when the IARJ inducts him into its Hall of Fame. Thank you so much, dear Larbi. We owe so much to you for your labor of love.
Good day, thank you. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Let me just say that unfortunately the certificate isn't yet printed, but we will be printing and sending you a certificate that says, quote, in recognition of excellence in journalism, leading to accurate understanding of religion across the globe. Sending it to you in the mail. So welcome to the Hall of Fame.
Round of virtual applause for everyone. Larbi, with all of that being said, we'd like to turn the floor over to you and allow you to speak as you feel so moved to do so. Larbi, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes. I'm overwhelmed really with your. I mean, I don't know deserve all. I I'm very thankful to you all. I'm very proud to be part of you. I remember when I started in the group of dialogue with David Briggs. It was like this course was like a prior met. From the age of 22, I was at the university, and I was writing for magazine issued by Algerian Minister of Religious Affairs. From the beginning, I was trying to write some impartial pieces, and the thing that writing about a religion from not a religion angle was and is still very hard, and people are in the Arab world are not used to write about religion from not religious angle, which means writing about a religion in the Arab world in the majority is promoting a religion. And I was looking to write some pieces not promoting my religion, because this is not my job. I was trying to describe how people are being religious in their daily life. Was trying to write how imams interact with society without promoting any ideas, without promoting any religion, because that wasn't my job. But I did not find any interest from people around me on this until I read the announcement of the dialogue from the ICFG, and I remember it was like a dream that comes true. And we started with David Briggs and colleagues, um, uh, uh, dialogue about the. In fact, David Briggs was the lecturer, but he did not want to say this. Always he said we are holding dialogue, but we've been learning a lot from him until we created the Iarj in Bellagio back in 2012. I remember I made speech, and maybe David Briggs and maybe everyone was, I remember this, about the creation of the Arabic version of the website. And I said, there is confusion in the Arab world. Well, but this confusion is not present in the West. It is like I was saying, there is confusion between religious coverage and coverage of religion. And I was insisting on that, and I'm still insisting, and that's why I always say we have to organize a conference in the Arab world, because we did not met them yet. We did not met them yet. We did not met any Arab journalist in the Arab world on the ground, except two journalists from Lebanon, Salman and Hani from Jordan, and Mohammed Hamdan from Syria. All other members, Arab members, are virtual members, and that's why the most region in need for our ideas and our take is the Arab region. There is a real need, and every one of us know that the Middle East is a religious region by excellence, and most conflicts in this region are coming from religious. On the face of it, they are religious conflict. Being in the IRG gave me a lot of insights from all over the world. I remember talking to everyone in the IRG. I never talked to anyone without learning from him a piece or two or 10 pieces of information, of analysis or takes. That is why the IRG is the paradise of ideas. This is a paradise of ideas. I've been enjoying this paradise for 10 years, and I wish to enjoy this paradise for the rest of my life. I'm very, very thankful to all of you, Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Larbi, on behalf of everyone here, thank you so very much for everything you've done, everything you are doing, and everything that I know you will do. That ends the formal presentation today. Again, thank you everyone who joined us here on Zoom for this tribute to our colleague and our friend Larbi. Thank you to everyone on Facebook Live who was watching in. If you'd like to know more about the IARJ, please go to the IARJ.org. I believe I got that right, correct? I'm doing it from memory, the IARJ.org. You can also follow us on Twitter. We would love to have you join along with this incredible group of gifted journalists and thinkers who take this work of journalism so seriously in a world that so desperately needs serious minds asking hard questions and demanding quality answers, as our friend Larbi has done such a good job of doing. With that, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to ask if you don't mind, Indy, if we could keep the channel open for folks who just want to gather. And we can't have real cocktails and crackers and cookies, but we can fellowship informally. So with that, thank you very much for your time today, and blessings to all of you.
Thank you, Marty.